Juno Buddy. So Juno Buddy is our latest smartphone application development, and it essentially is looking to enable access to your library and just make access easier for everyone and all your students to get access to your library. So it enables access through your access control barriers using the student's smartphone. So it's a smartphone application that's available on both Android and iOS. Students download it through their normal methods of downloading an app, so via the iStore or via the Play Store, and then they log in and authenticate themselves using the LDAP or the two-stage authentication, whichever your institution chooses to use. And then they're a way to use the app. And your library can adopt the application in a couple of different ways. So you could use it in a similar way to our temporary card kiosk. So students would only use the app if they've forgotten their card. And you can set restrictions within the app on how long the app is valid for them to use for say that day or for however long you want. And then the other option is that you can allow the app to be used as a full-time option to their student ID card. So they can essentially use it alongside their ID card, so they can pick and choose whether they've got their ID card or whether they've use Juno Buddy to access the library. And really the point of this is really to improve the student experience and their satisfaction with gaining entry to the library and making use of the library, and really to make accessing the library as easy as possible while still maintaining the access control management that is clearly important to the library. And this also then reduces the need for staff intervention and a potential point of conflict. So where students have either forgotten their card or are having trouble accessing the library for whatever reason, they'll be able to just go straight to their smartphone rather than needing to go and speak to a member of staff or take up their time for this. They can just use their smartphone and get straight in. And that obviously just removes any need or any potential point of conflict where a student's unhappy about not being allowed entry because they've forgotten their card, that sort of thing. The library can also use the Juno Buddy application to send messages and reminders to the student. So for instance, you might wish to remind a student that they've got a room booking for that day, so you can remind them of the time and the PIN number to access the room, or that they've got, say, an item, a reserved item is ready for collection. You can send a reminder for that. And you're also able to link to external resources from within the application. So your library can pick and choose what those resources are. It may simply be that you just want to link out to the library homepage or the opening hours. Or you could also link out to potentially your collections system, so students can access the collections via the application and search through from in there. So as I say, it's all entirely up to your library what options you want to link out to. Another benefit as well is that students can access their own library usage statistics from within the application, so they can view things like the expiry date of the card and how often they visited, that sort of thing. Another option as well, potentially, depending on if supported by your other vendors, is that it enables the use of Juno Buddy to access other library services. So we can already use it to enter the library through the turnstiles. Potentially you could use it to use the self-loan stations or your laptop loans. So we can certainly do this with our self-loan. So as I say, it just depends a little bit on whether it's supported by other vendors. As I say, the application is downloaded via the normal App Store or Play Store method. And then once the students logged in and authenticated themselves, the application can then be branded and customized by your university and your library to really make it feel like an individual university application. So you can branding your logos and customize the color scheme to really suit whatever it is or however it is you want the look and feel to be. So the way the phone application is used, and we'll show you in a live demonstration in a sec or a live walkthrough of the app. But the student will load up the app, and then an electronic barcode is displayed on the screen, and they then use their smartphone to display it to the access control barrier scanners. What we need to do, there is a change that we need to make at the turnstile or the barrier, and we need to replace the laser scanner that is generally installed, or we've historically installed. We need to replace that with a 2D image scanner. And this just means that then the scanner can be clearly and instantly from mobile phone screens. So with the need for users or students to mess around with brightness settings on the screens and all that sort of thing, it will just read clearly and consistently. It will still continue to read normal ID cards and normal barcode tickets, so there's no loss of functionality there. It just really means that the smartphone can be used really easily. And it gives a really good result as well. So you potentially reading up to about a foot above the turnstile. So it works really well. So let's take a look at the actual smartphone application. So I'm just going to bring across my smartphone screen here. This is actually my screen on that you can see. So it's just mirroring what I'm doing on the phone. So as you can see, hopefully on the desktop of my phone there is I've got a couple of app options, but we're going to take a look at Juno Buddy. And straight in. So it's all customizable. So the screen you may momentarily have seen there with the Juno Buddy emblem and the loading of the screen, that can be customized. So that could show your university logo or your library name as it's loading. And then we're straight in here, and you can see a welcome message for me. So this is fully available by your library. So it could be just free text, you just type in here welcome or whatever you want, or it can also be brought across as the fields that you import in Juno in your LMS load or your data load. And this message here is built to that particular student, and so then just click to okay, and we're straight to the home there. And there's the electronic barcode there that you can see. So this is a unique barcode, unique to that individual and unique to the application. What that then enables us to do is it enables us to differentiate the method of entry that's been used by students. So you can run a report by Juno or via analytics, as Kevin's just taken through, and you can see the method of entry that's been used by the student to enter the library. So whether that's their ID card, whether that's the ticket kiosk, for instance, or as we're talking about here, the Juno Buddy application. So barcode is unique, but it's still linked to that student's account. So you know exactly the usage data for that student and all that sort of thing as you need to know. At the bottom of the screen, you can see hopefully a scrolling message. Again, this is customizable by the library. This is a general message, so it's just sent out to everybody. So it could be useful for advertising opening times, or potentially pushing a particular exhibition or collection that you may like to highlight. So as I say, it's completely customizable, and it's just a general message that then scrolls out to everybody, and you can change that as and when you feel. At the top of the screen, you can see our University of Anytown Library name and the logo. This is also where you can customize. You can change that and obviously input your own university name and library name and have your own logos. So we'll then take a look at the other benefits and the other options that we talked about previously. So in the top right, you can see there's a menu option there. So the first option, and you can see, is statistics. We'll go in there, and this is where the student can view their own individual statistics. So you can see there's a few for them to view. The expiry date there at the top. So as I mentioned, the application can be adopted in a couple of different ways. So if this is being used alongside as a full-time sort of work along with student ID card, then the expiry date there will match their student ID card expiry date. If it's being used in a similar way to the day ticket kiosk, the expiry date would then show whatever expiry date and time you've set the limit for day tickets. Okay, and that returns us to the main screen. The next couple of options there are our links out. So this is where you can choose to link out to an external resource potentially. So all that happens is we'll click here. So this particular link takes us to our favorite website on the whole of the internet, as you can see, the Telepen website. And you can see that then we can scroll through and interact with the website as we would normally. So this could be where, as I say, you link out to your own university website or your library homepage or anywhere else. And then our next one down, I've simply linked out to Google here, but as I say, this could be to a collections management. But here we can see that if we need to input text, then the keyboard pops up and we can simply type in here what we want to search for. And obviously we're keen on looking at a Telepen barcode, but you can see that if you need to interact with the application anyway, that the keyboard there is there for you to do that. And then we can just return out. Our next menu item is for the messages. So the welcome message that was shown as we entered the app, all of these are then stored in the messages section. So if they've closed the message down and then realised that they can't quite remember what the reminder was, whether it was for a room booking or an item, or maybe simply that they need to go and seek customer services for some reason, they can go back into the messages here, and we can have a look at what that said there, and then they can just dismiss that again and return back to the main screen. The next option is a disclaimer, and again, this is customizable by your library, so you can pick and choose the terms and conditions that you put in here, or the terms of use, whatever you want to put in there, and it's scrollable, and you can put as much or as little information there as you choose. And then we've just got an about screen, so this just tells us the version of Juno Buddy and all that sort of thing. And then the last screen here is the help screen. So this, again, is customizable. You can put in whatever information on here for your students to help them use the application. So it may simply be, as our demonstration, that you have an email address or a number that people can call if they're struggling to use it, or it may be a bit of a step-by-step type guide to help students use the application. And that's the features of the app. So the only other thing really to mention is that our future developments or on the roadmap for this year is to include the NFC capability for mobile phones. So they'll be able to use their phone, and for those of you who have MyFair or DesFire readers fitted to your barriers already, will be able to use the phones to tap and go and enter into the library in that way. So there we go. So are there any questions on the Juno Buddy application?
Yes, we've got a few questions, Barney. A couple on security. I'll reword a couple of the questions that people use Q&A for, partly because more than one person has asked the same question. So first question, what security process will be in place to prevent students who are tracked from accessing their account using a friend's details on their phone?
So, sorry, could you repeat the question, Alan? You went a little bit.
Well, I think the concern is that somebody who's trapped or stopped from accessing their own account would perhaps use their friend's account on their phone, on their own phone.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, you were correctly the first time. So yeah, thanks for repeating. So really, the student has to use their own authentication email and password to log into the app and use the app, and it's down to the student not to share their credentials in the same way as you'd expect for them not to share their bank card details and that sort of thing. Much in the same way as it's against the rules for them to use somebody else's ID card to gain entry. The normal restrictions that Juno has for so once somebody's into the library, it knows they're in the library. You won't be able to pass back, or that they're already in. They all remain in place for Juno Buddy. And likewise, if they've used their ID card to gain entry, they can't then pass their phone to somebody else to use to gain entry to the library. So it does limit them in that way.
Okay. Next question is the barcode unique each time to prevent students using screenshots? There's quite a few people have asked this question.
So the barcode is unique in the sense that it's unique to that student, and it's always relates to the latest ID card number on their account. So if they've had a new account number, then it will relate to that. It doesn't restrict them potentially screen grabbing to use separately, but it's as secure as, for instance, being able to photocopy your normal ID card in that way. We are currently unable to restrict the screen grab capability of the phone.
Okay, another question. Can the library set a limit to the amount of times that the student can use their phone to gain entry? I think the concern here is that the library wants students to bring their card in to use other devices, self-service or print copy, I guess, that type of thing.
Yeah, so at the moment, I don't think we've added that functionality to set a particular limit for using the phone, but it is something that I'm sure we could incorporate if that was needed.
Be interesting if any other customers that have got thoughts on that point could actually just send us some comments through Q&A on that, just to see if that's a common thing, and then obviously we can incorporate it.
There's quite a lot of people have raised that as a point. Quite a few people,
right,
particularly talking about screen grab.
Oh, that was a question before.
Yes.
So the question.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about the limiting. Sorry, yes.
Yes. So if that's a common thing, then that would definitely be on the development plan. Could be done quite quickly, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have thought so as well.